So now that we know the rules for doing covered calls, let's take a look at an example. Now this is just one example of a trade page. There's multiple platforms out there, so don't be confused by seeing the different platforms I have here. I'm using different ones because they're just easier to see and easier to display. So in this case, we're just doing a mock example. So we're going to say we're going to do a covered call on XYZ stock. And for this example, we're going to say the price of the stock is exactly $50 right now. So what's the first step we do in a covered call? Well, we buy 100 shares of stock, correct? So if we buy 100 shares of stock and it costs $50 per share, that means it's going to cost us $5,000 to buy 100 shares of stock. Okay, part one is done. Now let's go to the call side. What are our rules? We want to sell a call as close to 30 days as possible. In this case, you can see here various option chains, December, January, February. And right here in parentheses on this particular platform, it tells us how many days until expiration. So you see 10, 38, and 73. So if we're looking to sell a call as close to 30 days as possible, which option chain are we going to use? If you said this one, 38, you are correct. That's as close to 30 days as we're going to get. So now we move on to the next step. We got to sell that call. So let's go over here to the different call strikes. And you can see these are $2.50 apart. Not to be confused, there's all kinds of various strike prices for various stocks. It could be $1 apart, could be $5 apart. In this case, we're looking at $2.50 apart. So what's our rule? We have to sell a strike price above our stock price. So our stock price is 50. The first strike here is 50. Can we sell that strike price? Well, is 50 above 50? No, it's not. So we're going to say this one is no good, which leaves us these two. Either one of these is a possibility to sell. In this case, for this particular example, we're just going to say we're going to sell the 52.50 strike price. And when we do, we're going to sell it for $1.47. And remember, options are times 100, so if I sell it for $1.47, that means I actually get a credit of $147. So now let's put these two things together. I bought the stock for $5,000, but then I sold this call and collected $147. So in the end, I ended up paying $4,853 for 100 shares of stock. Well, if we divide that back out by 100, we see that we're paying $48.53 per share. Wow, that's weird because look, right now the stock price is $50 a share, but I'm buying it for only $48.53 a share. So what's the catch?